All right, coming up now here on the Matthew Filipowicz Show, we are joined by my good friend Julianna Forlano. Julianna is a stand-up comedian, a writer, a satirist. She is also, of course, the host of the amazing web series Absurdity Today, which you can find at absurditytoday.com. You can also follow her on Twitter at Julianna Forlano. Julianna, thank you so much for being on the show again.
Matt, thanks for having me on. It's great talking to you.
All right, so Julianna, you were telling me right before we went on the air, for starters, you used to live in Park Slope, Brooklyn, but now you've actually moved to the Rockaways in Queens, which, by the way, people don't know, the Rockaways is like gorgeous. You're in New York City, and it's like actually kind of an ocean paradise in many ways. It's really just like a really awesome beach and a really kind of cool area, but you've actually just were telling me that there is actually a new pipeline that's going to be placed in the Rockaways. Tell us all about it.
Well, unfortunately, the natural gas industry never quits, and they are trying to put a pipeline running from. They're trying to run natural gas from out in the ocean, underneath the Rockaways, underneath Floyd Bennett Field and Flatbush Avenue, and right into one of the most populous areas, of the United States, Brooklyn, New York. Right? Not a smart idea. I don't know if you have heard this, but the Spectra pipeline in New York City has been approved by the federal government to start pumping natural gas. Spectra pipeline runs underneath Jersey City, underneath Newark Avenue in New Jersey, right across the Hudson, and right into Greenwich Village. Again, another one of the most populated areas, of the whole United States. And they're running natural gas pipeline, and they're starting, over an intense amount of public outcry to just pump natural gas. Unfortunately, just today, this is the bad news, the pipeline won federal government approval to start pumping that gas, and there's just been a tremendous outcry because there's possible explosions and environmental contamination that we know that goes along with these things. But the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission granted permission for the pipeline built by Spectra Energy to be put into service on November 1st. And they are also working, fracking has a moratorium. There's a moratorium on natural gas fracking in New York State so far. And we're hoping that, that will continue and that Governor Cuomo will have the cojones to continue that moratorium. But New Jersey does not have...
The Cuomo-hones, I think is what you're trying to say.
Yeah, the Cuomo-hones. But New Jersey doesn't have the Christie-hones to put the kibosh on that. And, the shores are very close. So they are starting to drill offshore, trying to pump gas in. And, on my way to work at Brooklyn College, I see them laying natural gas pipe. They're like digging up, laying pipe in areas where they haven't even gotten permits yet. So it's kind of stunning to me that, the natural gas industry has just basically said, well, we actually don't care what the people want. We actually are subverting democracy and we're doing what we want.
Yeah. So where is the one that's going underneath the Hudson through New Jersey? That one's I've seen that was a pretty famous Upworthy video went around where they were showing all these Greenwich Village people freaking out, rightfully so, that they're water faucets are going to light on fire, which is something that happens a lot with in areas where there's fracked gas,
right.
And just so people are worried on that end. Where is the natural gas going to be coming from? The one that would be coming from the Rockaways? Is it out? What would it be coming from? I guess New Jersey as well. Where's it coming from?
Of New Jersey. I'm not exactly sure that that's where the gas will be coming from, but it looks like from the map that is where the gas is going to be coming from, and they're going to run
fracking the ocean. That nothing could possibly go wrong with that.
No, of course not. And even when something does go wrong, these companies are so responsible in their cleanup efforts, and their containment efforts that, and their preemptive work to make sure everything is okay. It's a little bit startling. I'm not going to lie. I actually was like, are they running it like underneath my building, or are they running it 4 blocks away? Not in my backyard type of situation. But tonight actually, excuse me, tomorrow night, for those of you who are listening in the New York City area, tomorrow night there is...
What day would that be? What day would that be? That would be...
Oh, yes, the 22nd and 23rd of October. So
Tuesday and Wednesday.
And Wednesday, there are pipeline hearings for the Rockaway pipeline. You can go to the Knights of Columbus on October 22nd, which is 333 Beach 90th Street in Rockaway Beach, or October 23rd is at the Aviator Sports and Events Center at Floyd Bennett Field. You know, way out here, so that I'm sure, you know, these weren't arranged on purpose in places where you can barely get if you don't have a car. But I'm
sure that has nothing to do with that. Yeah.
No, I'm sure they were just trying to, you know, I don't know what. They were trying to get it into a place where they could fit a lot of people, you know. Mm-hmm. So no bus line.
Okay. I mean, let's also. I think many listeners might be familiar with this, but maybe they're not. But when Hurricane Sandy hit New York City last year, one of the areas that was actually the most affected, and actually it's an area that still, frankly, hasn't been entirely restored to what it was before, was in fact the Rockaways, which is where you live now, which is also where these hearings are happening. It's also where they're attempting to put this pipeline.
Exactly.
One of the frightening aspects of it is that it's actually a very, very fragile area in many ways. One, you have the beach, which is, it's a gorgeous beach. I mean, if you go to the Rockaways and you're on the beach, you're literally in New York City, and you're in at just an absolutely just, you know, phenomenal, stunning. The Rockaways are long, but it's gorgeous.
That, like, Donald Trump hasn't come here and put up some kind of hotel or casino or ruined it with his blight. You know,
right.
It's just stunning to me that it's, you know, this is not. Part of it is a federal, national, federal lands, a federal park, which was, by the way, closed down during the government shutdown. I was going for a walk, and they're like, you cannot walk on this land, which was weird. And most of it is just open beach land. It's not owned. It's not owned by the government. It's not owned by private enterprise. It's just, you know, land that's still just
it's the commons.
There. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so it hasn't really, you know, it's not destroyed yet. Hurricane Sandy did its best, and you know they are trying to still rebuild from Hurricane Sandy. It's not really all put back together, and people who live out here are still quite traumatized. And a lot of talk, you know, is about Hurricane Sandy and coming back from Hurricane Sandy a whole year later when people don't talk about it anymore. But, you know, when I walk down the street, I still see damage from Hurricane Sandy. And they're coming back, but it does take quite a bit of time to rebuild an area that was hit by such a, catastrophic natural disaster.